Let's move on now, talking about some superhero stuff before I get into my reviews of some things. Okay, so Spider-Man 4. You guys saw earlier in the week, we got our first casting for Spider-Man 4. Sadie Sink has joined in. You could check out my side flick where I talked about, my theories about who she'll be. A lot of the common ones were, the real Mary Jane. She could be Gwen Stacy. She could, the theory I liked is that maybe she's Mayday Parker, the daughter of Tobey Maguire and Kristen Dunst's character from the Sam Raimi universe. What was the other one? Some people were throwing out Black Cat. Some people were throwing out a gender swapped Harriet Osborn. The theories are crazy. All of them could be any of them. But today, a scooper who, again, the track record has been iffy, but they end up being right sometimes. So it's why that's worth mentioning. Jeff Snyder out here flat out says, no, she's playing Mary Jane. She's going to be playing Mary Jane in Spider-Man 4. And look, he could be wrong because literally 2 weeks ago, I think this source also said Sadie Sink is playing was Jean Grey in the movie, and now he's like, oh no, she's actually Mary Jane. So obviously take it with a grain of salt, but living in this category because it's all over the place right now. You see everybody talking about it. This is why I think it would be an awful idea if she ends up playing the real Mary Jane. I get she definitely looks the part. If this was Spider-Man Homecoming and she was the age she is now or whatever, sure, I'd be flipping out and going, oh, great, Mary Jane, great, all that. But the Tom Holland Spider-Man series has been going down this route every movie. And I'm not a Tom Holland Spider-Man hater. There's definitely things I really dislike, but I like Tom Holland and I'm always rooting for his next movie. But his trilogy at the end of No Way Home, it feels like every movie is now to recorrect mistakes of how they started his series, if that makes sense, right? Because, like I said, in Homecoming, no mentions of Uncle Ben. Who's like Voldemort, not allowed to talk about him, not like that, right? And then we eventually get to No Way Home where we see, oh, the whole trilogy was actually building up to his real origin, and Aunt May is his Uncle Ben, and she is the one who gives him the line, with great power comes great responsibility. I was like, okay, it was reworked in that. All right, fine. We got that. We got J. Jonah Jameson in there. And it's like, now we're going into the fourth movie and we're going to give him a real Mary Jane. It's like every sequel is just working to undo the messy startup that they did with Homecoming and Far From Home. And I get people get mad, man. I had already people come at me, and that's fine, man. I get it. You have to come at me. I don't think I could even find the tweet, but there was someone that was like, Chris, how are you complaining already about the Vulture and Mysterio not being Spider-Man villains just because they had Tony Stark connections? Look, I get it. That's annoying points to make. I fully agree it is annoying. Doesn't mean they're not valid points. Doesn't mean they're common complaints. They're common complaints for a reason, right? So I just think if you do this and you make Spider-Man 4 where we have the real Mary Jane come in and we know we're headed for a soft reboot of the MCU after Secret Wars, and after that, that could be how they explain Zendaya isn't there, but we have Sadie Sink as the real Mary Jane and all that. I don't know, man. I think that'd be such a dishonor to everything they've built. I think they set up a really good relationship with Zendaya's MJ, and it's just time to face your cookie. You set her up as the love interest. You follow through with that. What's this deal about? How about we have a real Mary Jane? And even if she doesn't end up becoming the main love interest, what's the point of introducing the real Mary Jane and having a Michelle Jane? It's like, well, but hey, look, I could be wrong. If this ends up being a multiverse thing and it works well in the story, I will happily be like, I was wrong, guys. It actually worked out well. I understand what they were doing there. Cool. But I think going down this route again, where we're trying to retcon things that were done, is just like, nah, man, why do we need to do that? Why do we need to do that, right? I mean, I also see a lot of people bring up Firestar. I don't know if you do that. Like, is that really something you want? Like, if anything, I would be somebody jumping up and down because you don't know Firestar is a mutant. So they're talking about introducing mutants into the movie. And I grew up on this TV show. Like, this is the first Spider-Man thing I ever saw. As a kid, this was it. Was Spider-Man and his amazing friends, where Spider-Man is teaming up with Firestar and Iceman, and he has like a bedroom where he pushes a button and it turns into like a little laboratory. That was my first Spider-Man thing ever, was that TV show. But even then, I don't. Firestar is so. This would be such an odd choice to have her introduced there. I did see one really great theory that I'm like, you know what? This could be where all the confusion is coming from. Some people have pointed out there's a famous Spider-Man story with a character named Jean D. Wolfe. You might remember them. And I got to brush up on this character, but Jean D. Wolfe had a good tie-in story. Here, let me just read her quick little biography here. The daughter of a New York City police inspector, Philip D. Wolfe, and his wife, Elisa, Jean D. Wolfe became a police detective herself, following her father's footsteps against his wishes. She worked her way up to the ranks, became a captain. D. Wolfe became acquainted with her co-workers, Captain George Stacy and Yuri Watanabe, with whom she worked together. So, and there's a famous story, and I think a version of her character that dies, and it even ties into the symbiote storyline. Yeah, see, like this is where I remember her from, the death of Jean D. Wolfe. And again, she's a redheaded character, sometimes has a bit of a romantic interest with Spider-Man. Her name is Jean. Is this maybe where the confusion is coming in? Did you know the scooper here that they're hiring a Jean who's a redhead to be in Spider-Man 4? Sadie Sink is in. He was putting the dots together and went, oh, obviously Jean Grey. Obviously Jean Grey. Maybe it's a version of Jean D. Wolfe. I know this one's a detective and an older and whatnot, but the MCU loves to switch things up, loves to mold things to fit their ideas. And this is one of the more famous Spider-Man storylines. They've run through a lot of popular stories already. Maybe this is what they're doing, you know? We have some Daredevil connections in there as well. So maybe that's where some of the confusion was coming in. And he just was like, oh, yeah, Jean D. Wolfe. So Jean, he must be, you know, Jean Grey. I don't know. But all I'm saying is if she ends up playing Mary Jane, you better have a dang good story. You better do this right, because I don't see the point in trying to replace Zendaya and undo what you did other than just to be, she looks just like the comics. I happy comic book fan now. I don't know. Just my 2 cents. Just my 2 cents. Someone said Silk. I don't think she'd be Silk. It's an interesting interesting suggestion though. Let's see here. Please don't do this. Silk or Mayday Parker. Silk or Mayday Parker. That'd be funny. I like Mayday Parker, but Silk is just funny. What about Ben? All right. So there we go. You guys let me know. We're still not going to find out for a long time. And like I said, all this speculating on who she'll be, she could just end up playing like a person who lives in her building. I saw the funniest thing that someone theorized that she's going to be the new chocolate cake girl from Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2. What if she is just a girl who lives in Peter's building and she's new chocolate cake? Chocolate cake? She was so sweet, wasn't she? It's very nice. Oh, that'd be funny if that's who she just ends up playing. She's chocolate cake lady. The most important person to Spider-Man's life. All right, let's move on now.